Hello and welcome to the post-match review of an unfortunate loss against Brighton. I thought, overall, really kind of a tough game to lose. I think a little unlucky, unfortunate to lose. Definitely some mistakes defense-wise, but I felt there was more issues than it seemed as well. In terms of the way that we played, there were still things that to me are major downsides in the way that we play. Let's look at some of the stats on it. Look at the average position. The shape was bad. It was back to a deep line. The fullbacks still very deep. Front four narrow. No real support offered. The left completely isolated. The right a bit more support, but still a bit of a mess. This didn't work in possession. Out of possession, it was very good. In possession, it wasn't. In possession, I think it was actually pretty bad. They did not work together well. They did not overlap well. They did not play together well. It was just they were all doing the same. They were doing the same thing, and Mason Mount came off at halftime essentially because of that. I thought United were decent for some stretches. A lot of errors in the first half. I thought the wing play was pretty bad here. I think that both Ahmad and Rashford actually had pretty poor games. Rashford is completely isolated on the left. Didn't really do anything most of the game. When he did make a few runs in behind, he was missed. Ahmad had a pretty poor game until the goal. And then I think he was kind of poor afterwards too, unfortunately. But he was having a pretty poor game. They both were. That being said, the biggest problem that I see is that overall on this was the dynamics of things. The dynamics of the front three didn't really work. When Xerxes came on, I thought it got better, but it didn't change that much. I thought Casemiro was actually quite bad. As the game went on, he started getting worse and worse. He dropped deeper and deeper, and our line started getting deeper and deeper. If you look at this, we didn't create anything for long stretches of time. We did not create anything. And then we created a couple chances. This structure was just kind of shit again. And, I think people will disagree with me on this, but we were playing long balls. We were not playing high and making short, quick transitions. If you look at the chances against Fulham, we were winning the ball up here and transitioning really quick. When you look at here, we were throwing the ball long almost all the time to Ahmad or from the keeper. And Onana being our high pass progressor is essentially the reason. We would toss it to Ahmad and then he would run with it. Bruno was creative for sure. His substitution was a bit questionable, I would say. High turnovers were bad, right? We only got 3. We got fewer than Brighton yesterday. And so that was my point. The press started out looking pretty good, but then it really dropped off. 12 on the passes per defensive action is quite poor. It started well, and then the press really dropped off. We didn't do anything here. I mean, look at this. Look at how bad this is. Look at compared to them and how they operate in half spaces. And that's because, it's all long balls. It's just going forward. Look at all this little interplay that they do and switches. All long balls, all rushing into the attack. Individually, I thought Dallo did well. Kobe, I thought was okay. I don't think he had the best game. You can see, again, long balls. A lot of long balls. I don't know. I really don't know what to say. In possession, out of possession, in possession. You can see how deep we were. I don't know what this stuff confuses me a little bit, so I don't totally get it. I guess when I looked at it overall, when you look at the stats on this, less XG. Now theirs were just kind of some tap-ins. It was pretty even overall, except we were just kind of poor. I mean, honestly, I don't know what to say. It was just kind of weird. We had some good chances. I think that in general, we were trying to play over the high line of Brighton, and we were bad at it. The timing of the runs, the timing of the passes wasn't there, and we just kept doing it over and over, and we kept losing control. And especially as the second half went on, we just kept losing control more and more and more and more. And I thought that made it a tough game for us. And then our line kept dropping deeper. Instead of progressing it into their half and then pressing high when we lost it and counter pressing, we resorted to launching it, losing the ball, dropping in, winning it deep, launching it, losing the ball, dropping in. A lot of what we've seen in the past that is not successful for us. And the line is there. It's deep. We were much deeper. Against Fulham, we would build up slower, and then we were struggling to create a little bit, but we'd build up slower and we'd get into the attacking half. In this game, we did not want the ball in their half, possession-wise. Every time we got it, we went straight for goal. And then as the game went on, we dropped off deeper and deeper and deeper, lost the ball more, and then would try to attack more and more directly. And, we nearly did. Garnacho's goal was unlucky to not count. Ahmad's was maybe lucky to count. But in general, there's just, I don't know, the same issues that we had last week. The dynamics of the attack were bad. The front forward does not work well. Rashford's alone, and then he's not doing well. He had a bad performance, but there's no one to play with. He's by himself most of the time. The times he was free, the passes were bad. Ahmad had a moment he should have put him through. I thought Ahmad missed a lot of opportunities, but then he scores the goal, and then he helped create another good chance with that overlap to Bruno. But we made that one overlap that should have been a goal. And the rest of the game was just attack, straight to the goal. No recycling possession and getting a little bit in there. But it was also attacks from deep rather than attacks from further up like it was against Fulham. I thought when Xerxes came on, he provided a lot more initial control when he came on, but didn't get the ball enough, didn't get the ball enough. And then we still kept trying to go too direct instead of playing through him and playing. And I think we need to decide what we're going to be. If we're going to be high pressing, then we have to be high pressing. And in which case we have to replace Casemiro because his legs wouldn't last for the high press. We could not keep it up. And when Mason Mount came off, we kept dropping deeper and deeper once again. He could not keep the press up. So that's one area. And if we're going to be that high press, then we need to press high, win it high, and transition short. We cannot press and then drop off, and press and be deep, and press and be deep. And we need to decide, are we going to control the ball in the opposition half? I understand, and I've made the argument that we want to make faster attacks and we want to be quicker, but I think that's okay. The Liverpool way is not doing that from deep. It's doing that from winning the ball in the opposition's half. And that's what I think is more successful. I think that's what worked against Fulham. So press high, win the ball high, attack quickly, but then your fullbacks are up, your forwards are up, your midfield is up, and you can actually swarm against the opposition, not launching it and attacking from deep. I think if we get the ball from deep, where we need to make a decision is to not launch it forward on the counter all the times, but instead get the ball controlled into their half and build up, and then counter press. When you lose the ball high, win the ball back high, then you can attack quickly because you have players in the opposition half. So I think we need to decide because it's still halfway, especially in the attacking dynamics. And until we fix that, I think we're really going to struggle. The goals conceded, it was a mess. I mean, the goals conceded were a mess. They were just 100% a mess. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, look at this. What are we doing? There was 2 players over here, both fullbacks on this side, everybody on this side, De Ligt marking nobody. What's this? What was the point of this? This is horrific. So, the goals conceded were errors, so I'm not really just talking about the result. For me, it's about the process. It's the second game of the season. We made mistakes. Maguire should have done better on the first one. Big mistakes on the second goal. We got a little unlucky. Like, it's a funny game because we could have won, but I don't think the process was as good this game, and I think we saw some issues where we lacked control, and the mistakes often happen because of that lack of control and because we didn't keep it up. So, next week, I think we have to start Xerxes for 1 and stick Bruno deep into the 10 for 1. We need to get Ugarte in, and we need to maintain this high press. And then I really don't care who you put on the wings, whether it's Ahmad, Garnacho, Rashford, or it doesn't matter to me, but give fullback support. Press up high, get those fullbacks higher like they were last week. And not as much. Even last week, we were still struggling with it, especially on the left, but there was more of it. Yeah, I mean, look at Dallow's average position. Look at how little he was getting up forward. I thought he was actually pretty decent, but let's compare. Look at how much more, look at that. This is how much he was in the forward position this game. This is how much he was last game. So even though him and Rashford weren't quite playing that well together, look at how much more forward he was getting. How much higher up he played last game compared to this game. And that's in possession. That tells you everything to me. Our fullbacks were not in there. We were just rushing the attack to beat the high line. I'd like to see us control the game higher. That will help us maintain the higher press, maintain the counter press, and do better. So that's just my take from it. It's frustrating. It was a bad loss. Unlucky in some respects, but in otherwise the process was just kind of poor. I don't want to see us mixing our processes. If we're going to be a high pressing team, then push up, counter press high, keep the line high, and then in possession, build up high, control it high. And then when you're attacking quickly in transition, it's off of the press when your team is up there, when you can swarm them. And I think that's the difference is instead of just launching it from deep and attacking over the top. I understand when they're playing a high line, but if they're playing a high line, the difference is last year, like when we played against Villa and they had a high line, we were playing Rashford, Højlund, and Garnacho. 3 runners in behind instead of the dual 10 situation. So, yeah, I think the dynamics are just wrong, and we have to settle on a way of playing. It's too mixed, especially in the attack. So, yeah, that's my takeaway. The negatives, the line dropped deep. We played too fast in attack. It doesn't suit the high press. We should go back to building it up into their half and then counter-pressing and attacking quickly. But attacking quickly from their half when the fullbacks are in their half. That's what I would like to see. Looking at that Dallo thing, definitely that concerns me. Look at this again. I'll show this one more time. We'll show the same with Mazraoui. Look at how much he had the ball in their half compared to this game. Big difference. Okay, that's my takeaway. Frustrating game. We need to sort it out. I don't know. We need to sort out the dynamics of it because I think that it wasn't a good follow-up to our first game in terms of style either. I thought there was a big difference in the way that we played, especially in possession. That didn't suit us as much. And it's just more chaotic, more haphazard, even though we were unlucky in some ways in the result. So it wasn't all bad, but I just think we need to stick to a way to go forward and stick with that because it's not working. It was, I just think it's too chaotic. It's less controlled than we want it to be. So that's my takeaway. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. See you later.